everyone, my name's Laurie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my November reading wrap up. I did not have the best reading month in November, to be honest. I had good books and some very, very bad books actually as well. I didn't have a good month in like the quantity of books I was reading. I only read 7, which is still a lot, don't get me wrong, but I did start off the year reading 12 books a month. So it's very interesting to see how the amount of reading I'm doing is slowly declining as the year goes on. I think I've just been more busy and stuff. Christmas coming up, New Year's coming up. I've been to a lot of like different functions and stuff. So I haven't been reading as much. And also I am like in a huge reading slump from finishing my favorite book series in the world. So I think that probably has something to do with it as well. So I started off the month very strongly with Assassin's Fate by Robin Hobb. Now, if you know me and you've subscribed to my channel and stuff, you know Robin Hobb is my favourite author in the entire world, and the Realm of the Eldling series, which is this series, is the best series I've ever read, and I will never get over it. It took me like a year and a half to 2 years to read it, I think, because it's 16 books. All of the books are 900 pages. I'm just going to do like a little quick love letter to Robin Hobb real quick, because I need to try and put into words how much I love this series. So I found this series, I think it was 2022. I was in a very rough place then. I wasn't doing well mentally. I wasn't doing well with anything in my life, really. I found the first book, Assassin's Apprentice, in the back of an old bookstore, and I picked it up, and I knew I'd seen this book like around TikTok. I think I'd seen it somewhere before, and I read the back of the book and immediately fell in love with the story. I went home and finished the book within 3 days, and from then on I was completely hooked. It helped me through some of the most difficult times in my life, and I haven't been able to sleep without falling asleep reading these. Literally every night for the past 2 years I fall asleep with these books in my arms. Let me just put photo evidence here. I never fall asleep without a Robin Hobb book in my hand. And I don't know how to explain how much this series has meant to me and how many difficult times it's got me through. This series has everything in it. It has romance, it has fantasy, it has absolute desperate heartbreak. The amount of books this time made me sob my heart out, and I felt completely heartbroken. After I finished this book, I think I cried for a solid 3 hours. And every time I think about it, I start tearing up again, because that's just how much this series means to me. It's also incredibly funny, heartwarming. There's found family. The main character struggles with a lot of different mental illnesses, so I really relate to that part of it. And I cannot think of another series that is as well written and as detailed, and the plot is so intricate. There is things you read in book 1 that you think are insignificant, and then it comes back in like book 15 or 16, and you're like, oh my goodness, that's what that meant. The amount of like parallels there are between the books, and the characters. I've never read such intricate, detailed characters before. Every single character is fully fleshed out, has their own personality. Like, it's so detailed, and the plot is so detailed. I literally cannot praise these books enough. Like, if I met Robin Hobb, or if I could just send a letter to Robin Hobb describing to her how much these books helped me through a difficult time in my life, like I feel the need to just like, I want to talk to her, and I want to talk to her about this series and how incredible it is and how much it helped me. So that's my rant on Robin Hobb over. But anyway, safe to say this was a 5-star, as is the entire series. And I actually started rereading it immediately after finishing this. After I'd finished crying, I was going to bed for the night and realized, crap, there's no other Robin Hobb book going after this. And so I just started rereading it. I restarted with Assassin's Apprentice pretty much immediately. And I've been annotating it this time, so I'm planning on going through the entire 16-book series again and annotating everything. If anyone wants like an annotate with me or a tutorial on how I annotate my books, I will do that if anyone wants one. But so far I'm just using tabs and writing things, underlining things that come back later on, highlighting a lot. There's pretty much the whole thing is highlighted at this point. This book is going to be covered in writing, and I'm planning on rereading these books for the rest of my life and adding to my annotations. Like, I want the book to be like this big. I want it to be huge, filled with annotations and notes and papers and everything. So yeah. Then my next read was actually another 5-star read. I read Another Life by Kristen Hanna. Any book you read by Kristen Hanna, automatic 5 stars. I think this has become one of my auto-buy authors, but I'm absolutely in love with her writing style. This book follows Angie, who is recently divorced from her husband because they were struggling to have children for many, many years, and eventually that kind of like tore them apart. So Angie moves back to her hometown, which is like a beachy hometown, and she begins to work in her family's restaurant. On the other POV, we have a girl called Lauren, who's a teenager, and she kind of like lives in a bad part of town, is living in poverty, and has a very absent mother. So Angie kind of ends up taking Lauren in, and it's a very sweet, very heartwarming story, and it made me cry a lot, and I really, really enjoyed this. So 5 stars, and I definitely want to read more Kristen Hanna as soon as possible because her books are like phenomenal. And then I read My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. Now I did rate this book 4 stars, but first of all, I'm just going to put, again, as usual, as I do, all the trigger warnings and everything, because this book, I need to start this by saying this is extremely triggering. Do not read this before checking up the trigger warnings. Like, please, 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 because I went into this almost completely blind, having no idea what it was actually about. Please don't do that. That's not a good idea. Prepare yourself, because this is a very heavy, heavy book to go through, and it's a very heavy and sad book to read. So this book is basically about this young teenage girl who is groomed by her teacher, and they begin a sexual relationship when she is 15. I think he is in his 40s at this point. So obviously very, very uncomfortable, very weird to read. It kind of makes your skin crawl a little bit. Very, very disturbing. But I do think that it was so well done, because she's kind of so traumatized by this whole ordeal. She has convinced herself, and he has also convinced herself, that this relationship was consensual. It's just so uncomfortable, and just thinking about it makes my skin crawl. I think it did a fantastic job at displaying what kind of grooming and sexual assault looks like, so 4 stars. Then we have another 5-star read, which is The Right Move by Liz Tomford. This is the second book in the Windy City series. I think the first book is Mile High, which I also gave that one a very high rating, I think 4 or 5 stars. This one follows 2 people from the other book, so it follows Ryan and Indy, and Ryan is a professional basketball player, and so Indy is best friends with Ryan's sister, so she moves in because she kind of doesn't have a home at the moment. And yeah, so they're fake dating. There is again a lot of mental health things discussed, and I really, really enjoy that aspect about these books. And also, these are, I think, the most well-written romance books that I've ever read. They're just so well written, and I think that you don't come across well-written romance books a lot, or at least I feel that personally. Windy City series does a really good job of talking about mental illness and talking about just the different struggles of life that people go through, and it does it in a really good way. Again, putting age ratings, spice levels, all here. This was 5 stars, and I can't wait to continue this series. It's so good. I really recommend this for any romance readers. This is like a romance reader's dream. It's so good. Next up, I did a reread of Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read this back in 2022, I think, so I was a lot younger then, and now that I've grown up a bit and rereading it, honestly, it's like 10 times better than before. I think when I was 14, I didn't really understand the message of the story and such, but now reading it at an older age, I'm now 17, it made a lot more sense, and it was a fantastic story. So this book follows 4 siblings, and it's 2 POVs. So you follow the siblings' parents when they fell in love in the 1950s, and then you follow the siblings who are throwing a huge annual summer house party in the 1980s. And it goes through each of the siblings' individual struggles. It's a very summary feel book because Stop twerking! Brah. Weekend. Oh boy. So each of the siblings are like professional surfers. One of them, the oldest sibling's a model and a surfer. Then the other siblings are surfing and doing photography and modeling and whatever and whatnot. I think I love this book so much because I relate to the main character so much. The main character is Nina Riva, who is the oldest sibling, and me also being the oldest sibling. The way I relate to her on a different level, like, the amount of times I cried through this book, and just the things that she says and does just feels so true to what it is actually like to be an older sister. I think it portrays family struggles and stuff very, very well. And obviously, again, mental health is discussed, and divorce is discussed, and like parents' death is discussed, and there's a lot of heavy topics in here again. This was another 5 stars. Next up, we have a 3-star read, which is Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. I rated this 3 stars just because I felt like it wasn't that good. Is that horrible to say? Because I know this is a lot of people's favorite book. I know it's a very popular, very hyped up book on BookTok and everywhere. I feel like I'm the only one who didn't really enjoy it that much. So this follows Xingyin. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Xingyin? I never actually looked up how to pronounce her name. But she was raised on the moon with her mother because her mother is exiled to the moon, so she was raised there. But then some people come to get her mother, and the people don't know that Xingyin exists, so Xingyin has to escape, and she goes down to Earth, I'm guessing, or to another planet. I'm not quite sure, because again, this book just doesn't make a lot of sense, to be honest. So she makes her way to the Celestial Kingdom, a land of wonder and secrets, and she embarks on a quest, so she becomes like a soldier in the king's army, all to get revenge on the people who exiled her mother, and also to free her mother from the moon. Now, the things I did like about this book...
Be nice. I'm finding it. It take you that long to find it? It does.
I can't think of anything. I didn't like it. It was confusing. The main character is kind of a pick-me. It's one of those books where she like, it's just better than all the other girls. So she like learned archery in like a couple of months, and she was perfect at it. She was the best archer, and then she was like the best at this, and she's the prettiest, and like she learns everything way too fast. I can't explain to you why I didn't like it. I just thought the plot was kind of messy. The characters were kind of messy and very surface level. It didn't kind of go deeper into any of the characters' personalities or anything. I did like the love interest, kind of. I don't know. Anyway, I rated this 3 stars. I can't really say much about it. I'm sorry. I just didn't like it. I will probably read the second one. I'm not sure yet. Next up, I read Cujo by Stephen King. Now, I pretty much think everyone knows what this book is about, but in case you don't, it's about this dog Cujo who gets scratched by a bat, and so he goes rabid, and he ends up killing a bunch of people and trapping a mother and her son in a car for over 3 days. So, already, very scary premise. The dog is a Saint Bernard, which makes it 10 times more scarier, by the way. A rabid Saint Bernard is not something I want to have to see ever. That's horrifying. I did kind of slug through the first half. Like, it was kind of just, you know, Stephen King, if you know Stephen King, he kind of takes a while to get to the point. But after he did finally get to the point, the last half, pretty darn good. I did really enjoy it, and it was terrifying. And that's everything I read in December. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and comment any of your favourite books from November, and also comment what books you're planning on reading in December, because I'd really love to know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!